The human ship descended slowly onto the alien planet, its silver hull reflecting the pale green light of the twin suns. Lieutenant Jason Reed peered through the cockpit window, feeling a strange mixture of curiosity and caution. This planet, called Lumeria by the galactic charts, had never been explored by humans before. The report said it was inhabited by intelligent alien life, some of whom were said to possess unusual abilities. Jason's mission was simple on paper: observe, assist, and learn. But instinct told him this would not be a simple task. As the ship touched down near a sparkling river that curved around jagged cliffs, Jason noticed movement near the water. A figure emerged slowly from the tall grass. She was unlike any alien he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly with a soft silver hue, and her eyes were large, deep, and filled with a kind of intelligence that seemed to reach beyond human comprehension. She was small compared to humans, barely the height of a child, but her presence was commanding. Jason stepped out of the ship, his boots crunching against the gravel. The alien girl froze and tilted her head, observing him cautiously. He raised his hands in a universal gesture of peace. "Hello," he said. His voice sounded loud in the stillness, but he hoped the tone conveyed friendliness. The alien girl's eyes widened, and for a moment, Jason worried she might flee. Instead, she blinked slowly, almost as if she were trying to understand his language. Then, with surprising speed, she ran a few steps toward him, stopping just short. Jason could see her small hands shaking slightly. She was nervous, but she didn't run away. Jason crouched down to appear less threatening. "It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you," he said gently. He noticed a faint shimmer around her body, almost like a protective aura, though he had no instruments that could detect it. The alien girl studied him with curious eyes. Then she spoke in a soft, musical voice that he could barely understand. Jason activated his universal translator. The words came out clearly. "Why are you here?" "I'm here to learn about your world," Jason replied. "And to help if I can." The alien girl seemed to consider his words carefully. Finally, she nodded once and extended a small hand. Jason hesitated for a moment, then gently shook it. Her touch was surprisingly warm, almost like a living current running through him. He felt a strange sense of connection, as if their meeting had been destined long before either of them existed. "Name?" she asked. "Jason." "Human," he replied. She tilted her head and said something that sounded like Lyra. The translator confirmed it. "Lyra." Jason smiled. "Lyra, it's nice to meet you. Can you show me your village?" Lyra glanced toward the cliffs and the sparkling river. She seemed to hesitate, then nodded slowly. Jason followed her as she led the way along a narrow path, her small feet moving with grace and speed. He noticed the way the local plants leaned slightly toward her, as if recognizing her presence. There was something unusual about this world, something that made Jason's human senses tingle with both excitement and caution. When they reached a clearing, Jason could see small structures built from crystal-like materials. They glimmered under the sunlight, reflecting colors he didn't have names for. Lyra's village was quiet, almost too quiet, but Jason sensed life everywhere. Birds with iridescent feathers circled above, and small creatures peeked from behind the crystalline buildings. The villagers came out to greet Lyra, their voices soft and melodic. They seemed wary of Jason at first, but Lyra spoke quickly, introducing him. The translator allowed Jason to understand some of their words. They were cautious but not hostile. Lyra's presence seemed to assure them. Jason realized that she held a special position in her society, perhaps a young leader or someone chosen for an important role. Days passed, and Jason learned more about Lyra and her people. He discovered that Lyra had a rare condition among her species. She had not fully grown despite being older than most children her age. This was not just a matter of size. Her abilities were limited because of it. She could communicate and learn, but she lacked the strength and energy of her peers. Jason was troubled by this. He had seen many human challenges in his life, but helping an alien adjust and grow was something entirely new. He spent hours in the village studying their biology, their natural energy flows, and the crystalline environment that seemed to influence everything on Lumeria. Lyra watched him silently most of the time, curious but cautious. One afternoon, Jason approached Lyra near the river. "Lyra," he said, "I think I can help you grow. Not in ways humans do, but in ways that make your body stronger and your energy fuller." Lyra's eyes widened and she looked at him with a mix of hope and fear. Danger? She asked. No, Jason said. I will be careful. But you have to trust me. After a long pause, Lyra nodded. She had that quiet courage that humans admired in heroes of old stories, willing to face the unknown for the chance to become stronger. Jason smiled gently. Good. Then we begin tomorrow. That night, Jason stayed in his ship, preparing a device he had brought from Earth. It was a complex instrument designed to stimulate growth safely, using a combination of light frequencies, energy pulses, and nutrient simulations. He calibrated it carefully, double-checking the settings. Every precaution had to be perfect. The next morning, Lyra arrived at the edge of the village, her small frame tense with anticipation. Jason greeted her and led her to a flat area near the river, where the sunlight was strongest. He set up the device and explained each step to her. Though she didn't fully understand the technical details, she nodded, trusting him completely. When the device powered on, a soft hum filled the air. A gentle light surrounded Lyra, and Jason watched carefully as her body began to respond. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, she seemed to grow taller and stronger. Her eyes sparkled brighter, and her posture became more confident. Jason's heart raced with excitement. This was working. Hours passed, and Lyra laughed for the first time in a long while, her small hands clapping with joy. She felt stronger, more capable, and full of energy. Jason felt a sense of pride and wonder. He had never helped anyone in this way before, human or alien. The villagers came to observe, their eyes wide with amazement. They whispered among themselves, fascinated and grateful. Lyra's transformation was not only physical, it carried a sense of hope and inspiration. For the first time, she could dream of exploring beyond the cliffs, beyond the river, beyond the world they knew. By evening, the device powered down and Jason and Lyra stood together, watching the twin suns sink below the horizon. Lyra's small hand reached for his, and Jason felt the same warm current he had felt the first day. She was stronger now, but more importantly, she was ready for new adventures. Thank you, she said softly. And I can do more now, Jason smiled. And this is only the beginning, Lyra. The universe is big, and there is so much for you to see and learn. For the first time in his life, Jason felt that humans were not just visitors in the galaxy. They were catalysts for change. He had helped an alien girl grow, not just in body but in spirit, and in doing so, he realized that the future held endless possibilities for both humans and the worlds they touched. As night fell over Lumeria, the stars reflected in the river like tiny diamonds. Jason knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and new friendships. But for now, he simply watched Lyra laugh and play among the crystal fields, her small figure illuminated by the gentle glow of her newfound strength. It was a moment of triumph, not for humans, not for aliens, but for courage, curiosity, and the simple act of helping another being reach their full potential. And Jason knew, deep down, that this was the start of something extraordinary, a story of humanity's impact on the stars, beginning with the single brave alien girl named Lyra. The next morning, the twin suns rose over Lumeria, casting soft green and gold light across the crystalline village. Lyra was awake early, her body already buzzing with the energy she had gained the day before. She stretched her small limbs, feeling stronger than ever. For the first time in her life, she felt like she could run, jump, and explore without fear. Jason stepped out of his ship, carrying a small bag of tools and notes. He had spent the night reviewing the data from the growth device. Everything indicated that Lyra's transformation was stable and permanent, but her body was still delicate. He needed to monitor her carefully as she began to explore the world more fully. Good morning, Lyra, Jason greeted, smiling. How do you feel? Lyra turned to him, her silver-hued skin glowing faintly in the morning sun. Stronger, she said simply. I think I can do more today. Jason nodded. That's good. But remember, strength is not just about the body. It's about understanding your limits, too. Lyra listened carefully, her large eyes reflecting a mixture of determination and curiosity. She had always been clever, but now her body could match her mind. Today, she wanted to see what she could truly do. Jason led her to a wide-open plain beyond the village. The grass shimmered with tiny crystalline strands that caught the light, sparkling like a field of stars. Lyra's small feet sank slightly into the soft ground, but she did not stumble. Instead, she ran forward, testing her speed. Jason followed at a safe distance, observing her carefully. She moved with a grace he had never seen, leaping over small rocks and hopping across streams with ease. Her laughter echoed across the plains, a sound of pure joy that made Jason's chest swell with pride. "You're amazing," he called out, and she turned to grin at him. "I feel free," Lyra said, her voice musical. "I've never felt like this before." Jason watched as she experimented with her new abilities. She could jump higher, run faster, and even lift small stones with surprising ease. It was clear that the growth device had not only strengthened her body, but had awakened hidden potential within her. As the morning passed, they approached a small forest at the edge of the plains. The trees were tall and covered in shimmering leaves, each reflecting a spectrum of colors. Jason paused. "Lyra, we need to be careful here. Some of these forests are home to creatures that are protective of their territory." Lyra nodded. "I understand." She stepped lightly onto the soft moss that covered the forest floor. Her movements were cautious but confident. Jason followed, ready to intervene if necessary. The forest was alive with sound. Birds with luminous feathers sang from the branches, while small creatures scuttled through the undergrowth. Lyra's eyes sparkled with fascination as she watched them. She reached out to touch a glowing flower, and it responded by gently opening its petals as if recognizing her presence. Jason smiled. "It seems they like you," he said. "Your energy. It's different now." They can sense it. Suddenly, a rustle came from the shadows. A creature larger than any Lyra had seen before stepped onto the path. It had 4 legs, a long tail, and scales that reflected the sunlight in sharp angles. Its eyes glowed a soft amber, and it watched Lyra carefully. Jason stepped forward instinctively, putting himself between Lyra and the creature. But Lyra held up her hand. "Wait," she whispered. She took a slow step forward, then another. The creature tilted its head, curious but not aggressive. Lyra extended her small hand, her fingers trembling slightly. The creature sniffed her hand carefully, then lowered its massive head as if acknowledging her. Jason exhaled quietly. "Well done, Lyra. That took courage." The rest of the day was spent exploring the forest. Lyra discovered hidden streams, glowing fungi, and even a small cave filled with crystals that pulsed with energy. She felt alive in a way she never had before. Jason followed, documenting everything, but he also gave her space to explore independently. By evening, they returned to the village. The villagers watched Lyra with awe. Her transformation was no longer a secret. Everyone could see her strength and confidence. Children ran up to her, laughing and trying to mimic her leaps and movements. Older villagers nodded in approval, their expressions a mixture of respect and gratitude. That night, Jason and Lyra sat near the river, the twin moons rising above the cliffs. "You've changed a lot in just one day," Jason said. "But tomorrow will be harder. There are things in this world that will test you, not just your strength, but your courage." Lyra nodded, her eyes fixed on the reflection of the moons in the water. "I am ready," she said softly. Jason reached out, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "I know you are, but remember, you don't have to face everything alone. That's why I'm here." The next morning brought a challenge neither of them expected. A sudden storm swept across the plains, lightning flashing and rain pouring down. Lyra had never experienced weather like this before. Her small body shivered under the cold, and Jason quickly wrapped a protective cloak around her. "We need to find shelter," he shouted over the roar of the storm. Lyra nodded, following him as he guided her to a nearby cave. Inside, they were safe from the wind and rain. Lyra's hair was wet and plastered to her face, but she looked determined rather than frightened. Jason handed her a towel. "This is your first real test," he said. "Strength isn't just about muscles. It's about staying calm and thinking clearly when things get hard." Lyra took a deep breath. "I understand," she said. I can do this." Hours passed as the storm raged outside. Lyra learned to use her new energy to keep warm, focusing her thoughts and breathing to control her body. Jason watched, impressed. She was learning quickly, adapting to the challenges of her world with intelligence and courage. When the storm finally passed, they emerged into a refreshed and sparkling landscape. The plains glistened with water, and the forest smelled sweet and earthy. Lyra laughed, feeling the rain on her skin, her energy renewed. "This is amazing," she said. "I never knew the world could be like this," Jason smiled. It's a beautiful planet, he said, and you're going to see even more of it as you grow stronger. Over the next few days, Jason introduced Lyra to basic survival skills, navigating with the stars, finding safe food and water, and understanding the behavior of local wildlife. Each day, Lyra grew more confident. She practiced leaping across rivers, climbing crystalline cliffs, and even communicating with some of the intelligent animals that lived in the forest. The villagers began to treat her differently as well. They were proud of her growth, and many started to ask Jason to help others in need. Lyra, for the first time, felt a sense of responsibility. She wasn't just learning for herself anymore. She was learning to help others, to protect her people and her world. One evening, as the twin moons rose again, Lyra approached Jason. "I want to explore further," she said. "Beyond the cliffs, beyond the rivers. There must be more out there." Jason nodded. "There is," he said, "and we will go together. But you must promise to be careful. Some places are beautiful but dangerous too." Lyra's eyes shone with determination. "I promise," she said. Jason felt a surge of hope. This was why humans traveled to new worlds, not just to explore, but to inspire courage and growth. Lyra's journey had only just begun, and he knew that together, they could face whatever challenges awaited in the vast and mysterious world of Lumeria. As night fell and stars reflected in the river like scattered gems, Jason realized that this mission was becoming something far greater than he had imagined. It was no longer about study or observation. It was about connection, growth, and the courage to face the unknown. And Lyra, the small alien girl who had once felt weak and limited, was ready to become a symbol of hope for her people. The morning air was crisp as Lyra and Jason prepared to leave the village. Today was the day Lyra had been waiting for. The day she would explore beyond the cliffs, beyond the river, and into the unknown lands of Lumeria. Her heart raced with excitement, but there was also a flicker of nervousness. She had grown stronger, yes, but this was the first time she would face the world outside the safety of her village. Jason packed their supplies carefully: food, water, a first aid kit, and a few small instruments to measure energy fields and other natural phenomena. "Remember, Lyra," he said gently, "adventure is exciting, but it can be dangerous. Stay close to me, and we will face everything together." Lyra nodded, her silver-hued skin shimmering faintly in the morning light. "I understand. I will be careful." They began their journey across the plains. The sunlight glinted off the crystalline grass, and the wind carried the scent of distant forests. Lyra ran ahead at times, testing her speed and agility, then returned to Jason, laughing. She was confident in her strength, but she also remembered the lessons of patience and caution he had taught her. As they approached the cliffs, the terrain became rougher. Jagged rocks and steep slopes made the climb challenging, even for someone with Lyra's new abilities. She paused for a moment, looking up at the towering rocks. "It's high," she whispered. "Are you sure it's safe?" Jason smiled. "We will take it slow. Step by step, and we will reach the top." Lyra began her climb, gripping the rocks with surprising strength. Jason followed closely, guiding her when necessary. The climb tested her balance and endurance, but she felt exhilarated. Every step upward was a victory, and the view growing beneath her was breathtaking. The village looked like a tiny cluster of crystals far below, the rivers shining like silver threads. When they finally reached the top of the cliffs, Lyra gasped. The land stretched endlessly before her, forests, rivers, and mountains she had never imagined. She could see a valley far in the distance, glowing faintly under the twin suns. Birds with wings like liquid light flew in intricate patterns, and small glowing creatures scurried across the rocks. This is amazing," Lyra whispered. Her eyes shone with awe. "I've never seen so much." Jason placed a hand on her shoulder. "And this is just the beginning. Lumeria is full of surprises, but remember, not all of them are friendly." They descended into the valley carefully. The forest was dense here, with towering trees that shimmered faintly in the sunlight. Strange flowers glowed softly, and the ground was covered with thick moss that cushioned their steps. Jason kept a close eye on Lyra, noticing how she now moved with both caution and confidence. She had grown in strength, but also in understanding. As they ventured deeper, they heard a low rumbling. The ground shook slightly beneath their feet. Jason tensed. "Stay close," he warned. A large creature emerged from the shadows. It was covered in thick, dark scales and had multiple legs that allowed it to move quickly over the uneven ground. Its eyes glowed like molten gold, and it let out a deep, resonant growl. Lyra froze, unsure of what to do. Jason stepped forward, placing himself between Lyra and the creature. But instead of attacking, the creature paused, observing them. Lyra took a deep breath and stepped slightly forward. She held out her hand, her energy radiating gently. The creature sniffed the air, then slowly lowered its head. Lyra felt a connection, a silent understanding. She could sense that the creature was intelligent and curious, not hostile. With careful movements, she extended her other hand. The creature nudged it gently, and she smiled. Jason watched in amazement. "You're incredible, Lyra. You can connect with them in a way humans never could." Lyra giggled softly. "It's like they understand me." They continued through the valley, encountering more creatures, some playful, some cautious, but none aggressive. Lyra learned to read their behaviors, using her energy and gestures to communicate. Jason documented everything, realizing that Lyra's abilities were already surpassing what they had hoped for. By midday, they reached a small river running through the valley. The water was clear, reflecting the colors of the forest around it. Lyra knelt beside the river, cupping the cool water in her hands. She drank, feeling refreshed and energized. "This place is alive," she said softly. "I can feel it." "Everywhere," Jason nodded. "It is, and that energy is what has always helped your people survive here. You're learning to connect with it naturally now." As they rested, a faint glow appeared in the distance. Curious, Lyra ran ahead, Jason following. They reached a clearing where large crystals protruded from the ground like towers. The light from the twin suns refracted through the crystals, creating dazzling patterns across the clearing. "This is beautiful," Lyra said, her voice filled with wonder. She reached out to touch one of the crystals. Instantly, it pulsed gently under her fingertips, as if responding to her presence. Jason observed closely. "These crystals are part of the planet's natural energy system. You're able to interact with them because of the growth device and the changes in your body. Be careful, though, they can be powerful if used incorrectly." Lyra nodded, experimenting gently with the crystals. She felt waves of energy flowing through her, strengthening her further and enhancing her senses. She realized that this was more than physical growth. It was a connection with the planet itself. Suddenly, a shadow passed over them. Lyra looked up to see a group of larger creatures descending from the forest edge. They were faster and stronger than the ones they had encountered before. Their eyes glowed, and their movements were calculated, almost tactical. Jason stepped in front of Lyra immediately. "Stay behind me," he instructed. But Lyra shook her head. "I can help," she said firmly. "I want to try." Jason hesitated, but he knew she was ready. Lyra extended her hands toward the creatures, her energy radiating outward. The creatures paused, sensing her presence. Slowly, they stopped advancing, watching her with curiosity rather than aggression. Jason's heart raced. He had trained humans for combat and diplomacy, but this was something entirely new. Lyra's ability to communicate through energy was extraordinary. She was not just surviving, she was leading, guiding, and connecting with the world in ways he had never imagined. After several tense moments, the creatures retreated back into the forest, leaving the clearing peaceful once again. Lyra exhaled, a mixture of relief and triumph on her face. I did it," she whispered. Jason smiled, pride evident in his eyes. "Yes, you did, and you'll do even more as we continue." As the sun began to set, painting the valley in shades of gold and green, Lyra and Jason set up a small camp near the river. Lyra reflected on the day's adventures, the cliffs, the creatures, the glowing crystals. She had faced fear, tested her strength, and discovered new abilities. But more importantly, she had learned that courage and intelligence could guide her as much as strength. Jason prepared a simple meal, and they ate in comfortable silence. The stars began to appear, shimmering above the valley. Lyra gazed at them, feeling the vastness of the world around her. "There's so much out there," she said softly. "I want to see it all," Jason nodded. "And we will. But every journey has its challenges. Tomorrow will bring new ones, I'm sure. But I know you're ready." Lyra smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest, a sense of purpose, confidence, and excitement. She had grown not just in body, but in spirit. The adventure had just begun, and she was ready to face whatever came next. With Jason by her side and the world of Lumeria open before her. As they lay beneath the glowing crystals and the stars above, Lyra drifted to sleep, dreaming of the adventures yet to come. She knew that the planet held many mysteries, and she was determined to explore every corner, to understand every secret and to grow stronger, not just for herself, but for the people and creatures of Lumeria who had already begun to see her as a symbol of hope. And Jason, watching the twin moons rise, felt the same certainty he had felt since the day he met her. Humanity could touch the stars, not through conquest, but through courage, intelligence, and the willingness to help others grow. The next morning, Lyra awoke to the soft light of Lumeria's twin suns filtering through the crystalline canopy above their camp. She felt a thrill of anticipation. Today, Jason had promised, they would explore the mysterious forest on the far side of the valley, a place that even the villagers rarely visited. Rumors spoke of strange energy fields, glowing flora, and creatures unlike any others in the land. Lyra's heart raced. Jason was already preparing their supplies. "This journey will be different," he said as he packed. "The forest is dense, and there are areas where energy flows in unpredictable ways. You'll need to stay focused." Lyra nodded, her silver-hued skin shimmering faintly in the morning light. "I understand. I'm ready." As they set off, the plains behind them glimmered under the twin suns and the cliffs rose like jagged guardians. Lyra ran lightly ahead, testing her agility over the rough terrain. Jason watched her closely. She had grown stronger each day, but the unpredictability of the forest would challenge more than her strength. It would test her intelligence, courage, and patience. When they reached the forest, the air felt charged. The trees were taller here, their crystalline leaves refracting light into thousands of dancing colors. Small glowing insects flitted through the air and the ground was soft with moss and fallen leaves. Jason motioned for Lyra to stay close. "Energy levels are higher here," he said quietly. "Sometimes the environment reacts to our presence. Watch carefully." Lyra nodded, her large eyes scanning every movement. She could feel the energy in the air pulsing faintly beneath her skin. It was stronger than before, almost alive. She took a deep breath and focused, letting the energy flow through her. She felt a sense of connection, almost like the forest was welcoming her. But she also knew it could be dangerous if she wasn't careful. They moved deeper into the forest. Lyra noticed flowers that glowed in rhythm with her heartbeat, vines that seemed to stretch slightly as she approached, and small creatures that paused to watch her pass. It was as if the forest itself was alive, responding to her energy and presence. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground. Lyra froze. Jason raised a hand. "Stay calm. Let's see what's coming." From between the trees emerged a large creature covered in dark, shimmering scales. Its multiple limbs moved with precision and its eyes glowed a deep amber. Unlike the creatures they had met before, this one moved carefully, almost like it was studying them. Lyra stepped slightly forward, energy radiating gently from her body. She felt a connection forming as she had with other creatures before. The creature paused, sniffing the air. Slowly, it lowered its head and tilted it curiously toward her. Jason exhaled quietly. "You're doing well, Lyra. Remember, communication is about understanding, not force." The creature circled her slowly, then suddenly darted into the trees, disappearing. Lyra laughed softly, relief washing over her.
"It's amazing," she whispered.
"I can feel them thinking, even if only a little." They continued through the forest, encountering more strange plants and creatures. Some glowed softly. Others hummed in ways that resonated through Lyra's body. She felt herself learning, adapting, and connecting with the environment in ways she hadn't thought possible. After several hours, they came to a clearing unlike any other. Crystals erupted from the ground in sharp spires, and the air shimmered with energy. Jason knelt to examine the energy readings on his instruments. "This is remarkable," he said. "The energy levels here are much higher than in any other part of Lumeria we've visited. It's unstable in places, so we must be careful." Lyra stepped forward, drawn to the glowing crystals. She extended her hands, feeling the pulses of energy run through her. She could sense the forest itself as if it were alive. It was beautiful and powerful. Suddenly, one of the crystals emitted a sharp burst of light. Lyra stumbled back, startled. Jason moved quickly to steady her. "That was a reaction," he said. "Some areas here respond strongly to energy. Focus, Lyra, control it." She took a deep breath, centering herself. Slowly, she extended her hands again, this time sending energy in soft, steady pulses toward the crystal. The crystal responded gently, pulsing in time with her heartbeat. Lyra smiled. I can do it," she whispered. Jason nodded approvingly. "Very good. You're learning fast." But remember, not everything will react the same way. Stay alert. As they explored further, they noticed movement in the trees. Shadows shifted and rustling came from above. Small flying creatures with luminescent wings descended, curious but cautious. Lyra held her hands out, energy flowing softly. The creatures hovered near her, circling her like tiny guardians. Jason was amazed. She was not only surviving in this strange forest, she was becoming a part of it. Hours passed as they navigated through the dense forest. Lyra's confidence grew, but so did the challenges. At one point, they came to a fast-moving river. The water was deeper than anything she had crossed before, and strong currents threatened to sweep her away. Jason knelt by the edge. You can cross, Lyra, but use your energy to sense the currents. Step carefully and move slowly. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, reaching out with her senses. She felt the flow of the water, the rocks beneath the surface, and the safest path across. With careful steps, she moved forward, keeping her balance and maintaining her focus. Jason followed behind, ready to catch her if she slipped. When they reached the other side, Lyra collapsed to the ground, laughing with exhilaration. I did it, she shouted. Jason smiled, helping her to her feet. Yes, you did. That was very impressive. As the sun began to set, painting the forest in shades of orange and green, they finally reached the edge of the energy field. A small hill overlooked a valley below where strange plants glowed faintly in the twilight. Lyra gazed in awe. It's incredible, she whispered. I never imagined so much could exist here. Jason placed a hand on her shoulder. And there's still more to explore. Tomorrow we may go even further, but tonight, rest. You've earned it. They set up a small camp near the hilltop. Lyra watched the twin moons rise above the forest, their light reflecting off the crystalline trees. She felt a deep sense of peace and accomplishment. She had faced challenges she never imagined, connected with creatures and the forest itself, and grown stronger in body, mind, and spirit. Jason watched her quietly. He knew that Lyra was becoming more than just a student of the planet. She was becoming a bridge between humans and the world of Lumeria. Her courage, intelligence, and connection to the planet's energy were something extraordinary. As they lay under the stars, Lyra whispered, I want to learn everything about this world and help protect it. Jason smiled. And you will, Lyra. You're ready for anything this planet can show you. But remember, growth is not just about power. It's about understanding, patience, and responsibility. Lyra nodded, feeling the truth in his words. She had come a long way from the small, uncertain girl she had once been. Now she was a young explorer, ready to face the mysteries of Lumeria with courage and curiosity. As sleep claimed her beneath the glowing crystals and the stars above, Lyra dreamed not only of adventures but also of the challenges and discoveries that awaited. She knew the journey ahead would test her in ways she could not yet imagine, but with Jason at her side, she felt ready to face them all. And Jason, gazing at the twin moons, felt a deep sense of pride and hope. Humanity had the ability to inspire growth, courage, and understanding, not through force but through connection and guidance. Lyra was proof of that truth, a living example of what could happen when humans extended help, knowledge, and friendship to the stars. The sun rose slowly over Lumeria, casting a warm glow across the valley. Lyra awoke feeling stronger than ever. The adventures of the past days had changed her, not just in body but in mind and spirit. Today, Jason told her, would be their most challenging journey yet. They were going to explore the Crystal Caverns, a place hidden deep in the mountains where the planet's energy pulsed at its strongest. Many villagers feared it, but Jason and Lyra were determined. Jason packed their supplies carefully. The caverns are beautiful but unpredictable, he said. We must work together. Your strength and connection to Lumeria's energy will be important, but so will your caution and intelligence. Lyra nodded. I'm ready, she said. Her large eyes sparkled with excitement and determination. They set off across the valley, moving quickly over the plains and climbing toward the mountains. Lyra's energy flowed naturally now, guiding her movements with grace and precision. She felt a deep connection to the land, sensing the subtle currents of energy beneath her feet and around the crystalline trees. As they approached the mountains, the terrain became steeper and rockier. Jagged cliffs and narrow ledges tested Lyra's balance and strength. She moved carefully but confidently, her new abilities allowing her to navigate obstacles that would have been impossible before. Jason followed closely, impressed by her skill and courage. Finally, they reached the entrance of the crystal caverns. The mouth of the cave was framed by enormous crystals that glowed faintly in the morning light. Jason checked the readings on his instruments. "Energy levels here are higher than anywhere else we've been," he said. "Stay focused, Lyra. The environment will respond to your energy, so we need to move carefully." Lyra stepped forward, feeling the familiar pulse of energy flowing through her. She had practiced this before, but the caverns were different, stronger, more intense. As she entered, she felt the walls hum with power. Light refracted through the crystals, creating patterns that danced across the cavern floor. It was breathtaking, but Jason reminded her, beautiful doesn't mean safe. The deeper they went, the more the energy shifted. Crystals pulsed in response to their presence, and faint whispers of sound echoed through the caverns as if the place itself was alive. Lyra focused her mind, letting her energy blend with the natural currents. She felt connected in a way she had never experienced before. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the cavern. One of the larger crystal formations had shifted, blocking their path. Lyra quickly assessed the situation. Using her energy, she stabilized the crystal just enough for them to move past it safely. Jason watched with amazement. Her abilities had grown beyond anything he had anticipated. Further into the caverns, they encountered a deep chasm. Across it was a platform of glowing crystals, suspended over a pool of shimmering water. Jason frowned. "We'll have to jump carefully. Use your energy to guide your movements." Lyra focused, feeling the currents of energy around her. She leapt with grace and precision, landing safely on the crystal platform. Jason followed, impressed by her control and confidence. "Excellent," he said. "You're ready for anything." As they continued, they discovered a large chamber filled with enormous crystals, each radiating powerful energy. Lyra approached them cautiously, sensing the unique vibrations of each. She extended her hands, and the crystals pulsed in response, creating a symphony of light and sound. Jason observed quietly, "Lyra, your connection to Lumeria is extraordinary. You can feel and influence the energy here in ways no one else could. This is remarkable." Lyra smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. She had faced every challenge and grown stronger, learning to balance courage, intelligence, and control. But the cavern held one final challenge. A shadow moved across the walls, a creature larger and more powerful than any they had encountered before. Its scales shimmered with the same energy as the crystals, and its eyes glowed with intensity. Jason stepped forward, ready to protect Lyra. "Be careful," he warned. But Lyra stepped forward herself. "I can handle this," she said. Her hands glowed softly as she extended her energy toward the creature. She felt its mind, its curiosity, and its caution. Slowly, she reached a connection, communicating not with words, but with her energy and intent. The creature paused, sensing her sincerity and strength. Lyra's calm confidence and connection to the caverns reassured it. After a tense moment, the creature lowered its head and stepped aside, allowing them to pass. Lyra exhaled, relief and triumph mixing in her expression. Jason looked at her with pride. "You did it, Lyra. That was incredible. You faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and you succeeded." The rest of the cavern was filled with glowing crystals, water reflections, and calm energy. Lyra moved through it with grace, exploring every corner. She discovered hidden streams, sparkling mineral formations, and small creatures that had adapted to the cavern's energy. She felt a deep sense of wonder and joy. This place was alive, and she was a part of it. As they reached the end of the cavern, Lyra paused to look back at the path they had taken. She felt a sense of pride and gratitude. She had grown stronger, braver, and wiser. She had learned to connect with the world around her and to face challenges with courage and intelligence. And she had done it with Jason by her side, guiding and supporting her. When they emerged from the caverns into the bright light of Lumeria's twin suns, the villagers were waiting. They had sensed the energy shifts from the cavern and gathered to welcome Lyra back. Children ran to greet her, and elders nodded in respect. Lyra's journey had inspired them all. Jason smiled as he watched Lyra interact with her people. She had grown not only in strength but in confidence and leadership. She had become a symbol of hope and courage, showing everyone that humans and aliens could work together to achieve greatness. Lyra turned to Jason. "Thank you," she said softly. For everything. You helped me grow not just in strength but in confidence and understanding. Jason shook his head gently. You did the work, Lyra. I only guided you. The courage, intelligence, and determination were always yours. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the crystalline village, Lyra stood with Jason, looking out at the world she had grown to love and understand. She felt a deep sense of connection, not just to her people in the land but to the universe itself. She had faced challenges, discovered new abilities, and learned that true strength comes from courage, understanding, and connection. That night, Lyra lay beneath the twin moons reflecting on her journey. She had come far from the small, uncertain girl she had once been. Now she was strong, confident, and ready to face the future. She knew that Lumeria held many more mysteries, but she also knew she was capable of facing them. Jason watched over her quietly, a sense of pride and hope filling him. Humanity had the power to inspire growth and courage, not through force or domination, but through guidance, understanding, and friendship. Lyra was proof of that, a living symbol of what could happen when humans reached out to help and connect. As Lyra drifted to sleep, dreaming of the adventures yet to come, Jason whispered softly to himself, "This is only the beginning. The stars hold endless possibilities, and together we will explore them." And so, the story of the human who helped an alien girl grow came to a triumphant close, not with an ending, but with the promise of new adventures, new discoveries, and the unbreakable bond between two beings from different worlds, united in courage, intelligence, and the spirit of exploration.